You are now tuned in to the War Party Paranormal Radio Show, where we will be discussing actual audio and visual clips captured during the team's investigations. Hear firsthand eyewitness accounts from fellow team members and special guests. Now smash that like, subscribe, and follow button, and let's get ready to welcome team leader and your host, Eric Vanderlaan, and tech specialist and co-host, Mike Del Coro.
Happy Monday, everybody. Yep, it's me, only me, no Mike again. But no worries, he's doing the final move on his house, so congratulations to Mike. And be on the lookout for your invitations for his pool party, all right? And I'm sure he's appreciating that I'm announcing that over the radio. But anyway, I'm Eric Vanderlaan. I'm the host of the War Party Paranormal Radio Show and team leader of War Party Paranormal Research. And welcome to the show. And we have an amazing guest tonight. Actually, we're going to be streaming live at a haunted location, so that's pretty cool. So we're right around the corner. There's the biggest Paracon in the U.S. that's going to be coming up. It's going to be the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, and the War Party will be representing proudly on behalf of our team leader and co-founder, Scotty Burns. That was her favorite Paracon to go to. She would never miss it. So there he is, and there's my producer. Welcome to the show.
Happy birthday coming up.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm 3 minutes away from being a 4th of July baby. 12:03 a.m. Can you believe that? My mom tried really hard to make it a 4th of July, but I still celebrate it, though.
Also, before we started the show, we did hear, because you just mentioned it about it being a haunted location. Yes. Well, we heard, I heard it. I don't know.
Yes,
you
heard
it. We heard voices. Pam was one of the guests, was in a location in the house, and I heard voices. I'm like, there's no TV. What's going on? So
right, it's kind of like a conversation in the background, like a TV was on. So
so we'll see.
It's an interesting night. So everyone, buckle up your seatbelts.
Happy 4th,
wild ride.
Happy
4th, Bill, and happy 4th to everyone else. I hope you guys have a great and safe weekend. So, damn it, Bill, you got me all distracted. So we have an amazing show. We have Pamela Berry and possibly Stephen. They run the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. And we also have our teammate, Lori, from War Party Paranormal. And she also helps out at the Gettysburg Bash. And we might even have some few surprise guests popping on. So I got a little intro video, and I'm going to play it. And here we go. Bam. There you go. So without further ado, let's welcome Pam and Lori. Pam and Pam. Hey, ladies.
Yes.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And Pam, your hair is looking amazing.
I just got a haircut. It's awful.
No, it looks good. And I don't know. Bill was like, you've already freaked out Bill. He thinks something's going on over there.
That's why I said, Jim Wyrick, come sit beside me. If anybody has any questions about the Hoover House, he's right here too.
All right, awesome. So we'll definitely get to that. So I'm very excited. We got the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash coming up in a few weeks, and there's going to be some amazing guests. And before we talk a little bit about it, Pam, could you tell the listeners and the watchers like how long you've been doing it, how it got started? I know it's a fundraiser for wounded veterans, which is a very great thing to do. So yeah, it's an amazing event. Good cause.
Thank you. When we started the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, we had like 13 vendors. It was at our old store, and this old guy came through in his John Deere tractor. Do you remember that, Lori?
Yes, he was amazing.
And he was retiring. He traveled across the country, and his final destination, his home, was Lancaster. And he just said something that really struck us all. You guys are really doing really good work here. You have to keep doing this. And we were like, okay, we will. And I feel like I just, we started doing it. I met Helen, who is president of Pennsylvania Wounded Warriors. We keep our dollars here in the state of PA. And I know that 95 cents out of every dollar goes directly to a soldier's home for either medical or whatever their housing needs are. And then we also do Dana's Pink Wishes, which is we collect toys for children whose parents have a cancer diagnosis. And so we ask everyone who comes to the bash to please bring an unwrapped gift, boy or girl, doesn't matter the age. And we also do John Buckland, who was Heroes for Hire. So he's Batman. He takes kids for their victory rides who have beat cancer. Unfortunately, sometimes the bash money has to go for a coffin or final expenses. But it's kind of developed into a big family reunion. And the really cool thing about our event is every charity that we support is there on they're right there. You can talk to them. You can ask them how the bash treats them. You can ask them any questions at all. And Helen she's a hero to so many men and women.
Well, thank you to you and Stephen for, helping out. And it's an admirable cause that you're doing.
It's our pleasure, actually. Takes us about a year to plan, and when it comes down to where it's almost here, we're kind of all psyched. And
yeah, and it's blown up too, because last year it was the first time you were at a bigger location, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that place was packed too. It was happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this year we're going to have on Friday, we're having a big masquerade party. It's $85 a person. It includes a really nice menu, rum punch, a DJ, and it's just going to be really super cool. I can't tell you anymore. And then Saturday is our celebrity bartending. Last year, the money benefited Shaylee, who's Dan Khalees's daughter. And then this year, in our field, Chris Maggart is in need. He's battling cancer, and him and his wife will be there. So come out, support Chris, and give some tips for charity. And he's right there. That's another great thing is the tips for charity are the person who's in need is there. So they accept their funds right from the chair, right from everyone. And then we also have Wear Your Favorite PJs, and it is karaoke contest. Favorite Christmas PJs.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yep.
And what PJs are you going to wear? The secret?
I have Christmas ones with all Christmas lights all over them.
It is Christmas in July, right?
Yeah. Theme is Christmas in July.
And Lori, what you got yours picked out or no?
No, I don't have PJs ready.
Is Stephen going?
I'll have to find something. My husband?
Yeah.
No.
I would like to see him in some PJs.
Right?
Really cute PJs.
That would be a blast.
Reagan and my cats. I have 2 cats that need medication, so.
Okay, got you.
Sadly.
And Lori, you're like part of the family here, and actually our family, the War Party family, but much longer with Pam's family. How did you get all started in this great?
Pam, okay, so when they had the Ghost Exchange on the Pike in Gettysburg, Stephanie and me and my friend Stephanie Haggerty, which we do we're in charge of the volunteers now. But on a whim, she was like, "Hey, you want to go to Gettysburg for the weekend?" I was like, "Yeah." So we got my Jeep and we trucked along, and I'm driving along and I see this store, ghost hunting equipment. I lock up my brakes. I'm like, we waited until they opened. You remember that, Pam?
Uh-huh.
You guys got there like 10 and we never left. Like the whole weekend we would go explore the battlefield and we would come out, and we actually hung with Pam and Steve more than we did on the battlefield. And then Steve started saying something about the bash, and we were there for the very first one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's grown a lot.
Right.
Since
And I want to let everyone know a little tidbit about you, that you're an amazing investigator, but not only an amazing investigator, but probably like the most coolest badass investigator. People listen, she has this bright blue Corvette that she pulls up at a haunted location, and then these suicide doors pop up and she comes out with the equipment. Like, it don't get any badass than that. Am I right or wrong?
No, I never had an experience with paranormal, nothing like that. Just, I think I posted on Facebook a long time ago, like, who wants to go? Because I don't even know. Maybe the TV shows. I don't remember what even got me into it. I was like, who wants to go ghost hunting? And Stephanie was like, I'll go. And it's like we've been best friends forever. Like, I don't even remember what year it was. And then from then, it just curiosity and like,
right.
And I love to watch other people who's been in it longer than me because I learn a lot. So
right. Okay. And for people that are interested in going or wanting to know more, like, I know you got some big name guests coming. Could you name a few that are coming?
Yeah, let me pull that up, because if I forget one, they will get me.
By the way, who won the celebrity bartending last year?
Brian and Rochelle.
Figures.
they're so fun.
And they are going
hilarious.
to be there to, they're going to win again.
I believe
All
it.
right. So we've got John Zappis. We've got Dan Cleese. We've got two of the Wraith Chasers, Mike and Chris.
Nice.
We've got Brian Murray and Rochelle. Daryl Marston, Sean Alston, Shane Pittman, Dave Schrader, Gene Snitsky, Ron and Lourdes, Cody and Satori, Josh Purvis. We've got the sumo wrestler, Mike King from Ghost of Shepherdstown, Wes Coleman, who is Cops from in Canada. We've got Adam Bonnet, which is Glider. We've got Santiago. Love him.
Okay.
Love them
I've
all.
heard of him.
Bob and Gina, Vortex Ghost Gear, Vince Klein, Kelly Miller, John and Chris from the Expo, Larry Eisler, Dave Spinks, Big Jim Jones. Sorry, my vision is so bad.
That's okay. But I think that's just enough right there. It's like half of that.
I know, right? We've got the Lots. We've got Gavin, Kelly, and Paula, Michael, and Mary Lynn.
Mary Lynn's amazing. I'm actually doing something
Johnson.
with her soon.
Tim and Lauren Malley, they do the big convention for animals.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Frank Sinelli, Mike Angus. Let me make sure. Rosalind Lewis, who is amazing. Everyone's amazing. And then we've got our vendors. We've got a lot of people who are doing lectures this year. Our roundtables are going to be a little different this year. So what I really envision is a roundtable with our women's roundtable. I have two women kind of in charge, to get things going, but
Girl power.
Yes, I didn't appoint people to be sitting on the panel because I really want it to flow, and I want people to network and talk and chat and get what they need out of it.
Right.
That's how the veterans roundtables are going to be. Santiago's going to be there. He's going to get everyone going. He's going to get that energy flowing through the room. shut the door, and be with your peers. And then the very last round table is going to be kind of like that veterans farewell, where it's going to be, we'll be back, but we'll be here for any of you during the year. So I've kind of tried to get more meaningful and empowering round tables.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people here that are watching and listening that are paranormal investigators. And if you're not doing anything, July 25th to 27th?
25th, 26th, 27th, yes.
Yep, the 27th, get your tickets, because like these are very informative. You're going to learn a lot of really cool things and probably techniques that you can use in your investigations, right?
And it's a good time for teams to network and get together and just hang out and just have some downtime and fun and raise money for some good charities.
Yep, and there's amazing vendors and everyone's very friendly. You're gonna be leaving there with a lot more new friends than when you arrive.
Yes,
definitely. And Lori, so you know what? I never even asked you this, but I'm just gonna ask you because I'm gonna do it while people are watching. Put you on the spot. No, just joking. How did you get into the? What's that? When you were telling me the story about how you got a piece of equipment, you went to ghost hunt. Is that the first time? Is that when you first got into the paranormal,
No,
or did something?
Me and Stephanie would just go to like our local cemetery, and we investigated a lot there. And there was a house at the end of the road that I grew up in, and it was an old mansion, they called it, and it was the most active, crazy place. The story was someone used a Ouija board in there at one point. It was a Halloween haunted house at one point. All the walls were painted black. So I was helping a guy who was a retired contractor, and he was going in and trying to fix it up. It belonged to the city at the time. And we would go in, we'd paint walls, we'd paint doors, we were just helping. And the more we were in there, it was like there was good spirits and something not right in there. But the more we were in there, it like drew off of our energy. And I had an experience that the next day I took the keys. His name was Leon, and I handed him the keys, and I was like, I'm done. I'm not setting foot in there again. But yeah, I never really had anything happen to me in my younger years or anything. I don't know.
So that piqued your interest, that drew you in.
Yeah, well, I was going to the cemetery before this, but then this really like kicked it into gear. But yeah, I mean, I love Gettysburg, and Pam and Steve told us some key places to go to in Gettysburg, and we did that. But I told Pam we left, and we came and we never left.
That's good. We don't ever want you to leave.
We hung out there. It was so fun.
Very cool. And like, so you've been with our team and you've been investigating for a while. What's your favorite location that you've investigated down here with us? I never asked you that.
I have to say Gold Coast. Like that was
that's badass.
And that's what's so disappointing to me with my lungs, because some of those old rail cars in my lungs and inhaling that was a fun night. It was really active that night.
So Pam, the Gold Coast Railroad Museum in Miami used to be the largest naval air station in the U.S. during World War II. It stored the naval blimps there that used to patrol the Florida coast for German U-boats.
Okay.
And it was huge. They had 3 hangars that could hold 6 blimps. Like, imagine how big a blimp is to hold 6 of them.
Wow.
So back in the 1940s, a hurricane came and ripped off one of the roofs, and one of the blimps caught on fire, and all 3 hangars blew up. And there was some tragedy. People had lost their lives there. And then over time, I believe it was part of University of Miami, and now it's a railroad museum, and they built a smaller hangar over the original blimp hangar. So like the same like foundations there, some of the structure and the brick from the base of it is still there.
Wow.
And then inside you got all these historical rail cars. The most famous is and this is probably Lori's favorite car is the Ferdinand Magellan, the presidential
It's cool.
car.
It's very cool.
Reagan, Roosevelt,
sounds like we need to do a road trip.
Yeah. So you got that one. You got a segregation car, and you got a California double-decker Zephyr car and an Army medic car.
Mhm.
And it's almost like a portal because like all these cars have all their individual personalities. And then there's remaining structure from the original Naval Air Station of the hangar. When we go into the maintenance room, it has a whole different type of personality as well. Like almost like girls, like women get touched, attacked. My girlfriend got her hat flicked. We had a girl like had their finger run on her face. I saw a full like shadow figure. And I think like back then it was in officers' quarters. And I think back then, like I guess there wasn't much respect for women in
Right.
the 40s. So maybe that was an area that was strictly for men. So I think that's why whenever there's a woman there, something happens. But I know, Pam, if you go there and that happens, you're going to be kicking some major ass. That's for sure. And Scotty Spirit will be there too.
That's right.
Exactly.
That sounds
right?
like a great place to go, though.
It was cool.
It's amazing. It's huge. Inside the hangar, there's 4 lines of rails with cars that go all the way outside the hangar, and then there's a rail yard, and there's cars all the way lined up there.
Wow.
So
And
very cool and historical place.
We went into some of those that are further down, and they're mainly like engines, like you know, like
The ones outside the hangar in the grass, right?
oh, the ones that are like down all the way down.
Yeah.
Mechanic shop. They're just row and row of just you go in them, and it's just like the engine room part. It was
You
wild.
see shadow figures like walking through the windows inside the abandoned cars. I've captured a thermal figure of almost like a bear-like animal, like crawling underneath the car, which is really weird. It was like a cold spot, but shaped like an animal.
You know what's wild about that? The zoo's right there, Eric.
Yeah, the zoo's there too. And on the other, and right on the other side is like a top secret military base.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a rumor there that they used to test monkeys there. It was like a testing place for monkeys for like, I guess, I don't know. They were doing experiments or something, but it's really weird because when we're out there in the middle of the night, we're with the IR cameras and thermals. All of a sudden, security pops up behind the fence because there's a fence that goes along, separates the military base and the museum.
Right.
And they're like sitting there, like watching us, spying on us, like, what the fuck's going on over there with all this equipment? So it's pretty cool.
Wow.
So we're at that point where I got to pay some bills.
Okay.
So I'm gonna play a few ads, and then I want to talk about the Hoover House.
Awesome.
That place looks really cool.
Okay.
All right, and usually Mike's in charge of that, so bear with me as I pull them up. All right, so let's go with this one. Bam. What is up, my paranormal peeps? You may be wondering why we're holding something like these in our hand, and my buddy's going to tell you all about it.
The reason that we have this paranormal equipment in our hand is because we're giving a big shout out to the Ghost Hunter store, one of our sponsors. They're your one-stop shop for everything paranormal.
That's right, and you may have seen some of these equipment on your favorite paranormal TV shows.
Exactly, especially the Haunted Files on Paraflix.
Mike's got that right.
All right, guys, so check them out, and if you use the code word Ghost Gone Wild,
Not Girls Gone Wild,
Ghost Gone Wild, in your checkout, you'll get a discount on your purchase. Thank you, guys.
Peace. Hi, I'm Eric, and this is Mike from War Party Paranormal Radio Show and the Haunted Files on Paraflix. And Mike, we got something pretty cool, right?
Heck yeah. So, I want to talk about Haunted Happy Hour, spirit-infused coffee. They have many different flavors, all kinds of different stuff. They're great people. They have a podcast with great content, and they got an amazing product here. So, this one actually is Sweet Rum Bliss. And what's amazing about this, You order this product and you also get 1 month free subscription to Paraflix. So you can watch us. Yeah, and you might be feeling dead inside, but get caffeinated with Haunted Happy Hour. All right.
Just an FYI, we got our own brand. We got our own flavor, the Haunted Files flavor of Haunted Happy Hour coffee. It's
Nice.
a bourbon pistachio blend. Actually, you
Ooh.
know what? I'm gonna bring you some, Pam, when we come up.
Okay. I am a coffeeholic, so that would
Awesome.
be great. Thank you.
I'm gonna get you that. All right. So yeah, we're very honored about that. And then I'm gonna play one more ad, and then it's all downhill. Here we go.
Are you ready to explore the unknown?
Eventually.
Brace yourself for a journey into the supernatural. Paraflix Paranormal Plus, your gateway to the paranormal, all-in-one streaming service. Dare to explore, dare to believe, dare to stream alone.
It does not want us here.
Sign up now and embark on a supernatural adventure like never before. Paraflix Paranormal Plus, the universal home of paranormal.
All right. So I just want to let people know, check out the Haunted Files. Mike and I have a series there on Paraflix, and now we're the most viewed show on Paraflix. So we're very honored with that. There's a lot of amazing shows there. So I want to play one quick trailer in honor of Scotty. So here we go.
Clearly an old human skull and then some arm and leg bones.
Martin County Sheriff's deputies, though, did not disturb the site, quickly identifying it as a Native American burial site with the remains of at least 6 people.
We've gotten EVPs of Native Americans speaking, because we think it's related to these mounds that date back like, I believe, 2,500 years. Spirits.
I'm just hearing a lot of stuff. All around me in these woods.
And I looked over and I just saw legs walking. And like a torso, there was half a torso there.
There you go. And Laura, you've been to Ortona, right?
What was it?
You've been to Ortona Cemetery, right?
I went to one. I don't know. I went to one and I had a hard time I don't know if I went to that one. I had a hard time finding.
Middle of nowhere.
This might not be the one. Joe had to come rescue me because I got lost.
Okay. That was probably like Port Mayaca, maybe.
Yes, I think it was.
Right across the lake, right?
I don't know my way around down here.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because I remember that when you guys were planning that. But yeah. We filmed there with Scotty, and we got some crazy. We captured on video a disembodied voice of a woman answering my question. We captured on the camera while we were there, and there was like nobody around. So it was like amazing. So, Scotty, I was planning to do more episodes with you, but I know you're proud. This was the thing that she loved doing. So, yeah, we do it in honor of her. That's why we do War Party and many other things. So the cool thing, and I know probably Scotty's been there, is the Hoover House, right, Pam?
Yes.
And tell us about the Hoover House. I mean, it's pretty active, right?
So we were built in 1912 by the Hoovers, and throughout the years, it was a restaurant. Then we were a nursing home. Then it was a restaurant, and now it's bed and breakfast and a winery.
Okay.
So when you walk into the Hoover House, there's twin parlors. I'm going to tell you what they were licensed for. That doesn't mean that they always had that occupancy, but when it was a nursing home, they were licensed for 5 residents in the one parlor, 5 in the other. Where the winery is now, that was their living room. Where the coffee room is in the back, there were 5 residents there. Upstairs on the next floor in the Holzer was the kitchen. In the Keystone, there were 5 residents. In the Hoover, there were 5 residents. On the 3rd floor, our bedroom had 3. Primrose was licensed for 2 and Rosebud for 1.
Wow.
And Jim does our table tipping. I saw that.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
We
I
do
saw
table
that
tipping.
Kit was in, and Jenny and Michael. So if you guys have any questions about table tipping here at the Hoover House, here's your man.
Awesome. It's pretty crazy, and like Lori's smiling there. We one of our team members, Marie, she does table tipping at our events.
Marie Tuft.
Yes.
Yes, Marie Tuft.
Yeah, Marie. Yeah, we.
And Earl.
And Earl, yep, they're amazing. And when I I don't know if you're familiar with Casadega. It's like the spiritual capital of the world.
Yes.
That was the first. So we were there filming a TV show for Univision, the Latin network, and they wanted to do table tipping. And it was the first time I saw it. And I'm like, come on, really? And so Marie's doing it. And I don't know. She's like, she can channel her energy somehow on command to get this table to turn, flip, tip. Yeah. And I'm like looking at it and I'm like, let me do this. So I just rested my fingers. Like you get several people and they're resting their fingertips on top of the table. And then Marie's the one that's channeling it. And I don't know, things start happening. So you see it on video and you think it's fake, but it's not.
Yeah, she table tipped with
at
Jim.
the lighthouse.
Oh, okay.
So, what would be
Awesome.
cool if they could come to the bash and table tip with Jim at the bash?
No, I'm trying to get them. I tried to get them go, but I think something came up. I don't know. They can't make it. But if they can't make it this year, for sure, next year we got to do. I'll tell her that. And she'll be like, "I'm back in."
Marie and Jim together would be amazing table,
right?
Because they both have that energy and can get it going.
Right.
Yep.
And how did you get into table tipping?
Well, it's Pam.
I'm a teacher in Lilydale, so it's a sister of Casadega.
Cool.
So I go and teach at least once a year in the beautiful Dale. I teach. I do something beginning of August. So they're having a paranormal weekend in Lilydale this year. I open, and then there's a whole bunch of people.
And where's Lilydale?
Lilydale's in New York. So it's the sister.
No, who was your Bobby?
Bobby Robinson.
Bobby Robinson. Yeah, she came down and table tipped with Pam and Steve, and this is when they had the lighthouse, the other building they operated, and then my son-in-law Dave and I, they used to have us come over and do investigations and host stuff over there. And finally, after they had been taught table tipping, and I knew about it, I had never done it. They said, "Oh, Jim, you got to try this." So
you thought it was crazy, right?
Yeah. And I'm telling you, it was Dave, our psychic, a girl named Haley, and myself. And I mean, this table's moving and it's doing this and it's doing, back me up in a corner.
I remember that.
And I'm like, what in the, and that's how it started. And then from there,
it's a workout too.
I just consider myself a strong empath. I don't have really much beyond that, but it's all with spirit. And for some reason, I try to keep my spirituality very high. And I approach this from a Christian base.
Okay.
And anyhow, spirit trusts me. They just do. And
can you explain like what your process is when you go into a table tipping session?
Well, I generally, there's some I'll use moldavite and a couple other minerals or whatever to sort of focus things in. And I also have prayer before I do a session. And that's pretty much it. We generally like to run an EM pump, an external pump, to get some energy. And what we found, it allows us to have longer sessions, but even more important, it takes less energy out of us. Because you do.
Did you tell Marie to do that? Because she doesn't do that. I'm gonna have a talk with her.
Yeah, no, I mean, it sucks, and even with that, it'll suck the energy out of you. We generally use a consecrated oil. Just, if you think of religious ceremonies, and they'll have
an ointment,
a blessed oil. So we'll just as sort of a protection.
Right.
And I open up by speaking to our energies. We always ask them to respect our guests at the table, and we sort of vouch for those people. And then oftentimes we've had to ask people to leave, or we won't allow people to come to the table if we pick up on various things. And anyhow, luckily Spirit takes us in their confidence, trusts us. And normally we have a set of tables that have found us. They've revealed.
That's what Marie told me.
Yeah,
they find you.
The table finds you.
Absolutely.
You don't find the table.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it will reveal itself. It generally will reveal its story, who it was, when it was, family, whatever. And I really think it's part of their eternal quest, is just to help disseminate information and make these connections between the realms. And they just use us as a conduit.
Mm-hmm.
We've been told by other psychics that we use the table as a psychic tool. You'll notice that depending on who is doing the table tipping, there's subtle differences.
Yeah.
And so I think, I don't know that
Marie's like a coach.
Yes. I don't think
she's like a football coach. She's like yelling.
Yeah.
She is.
I know that being the mediator, you really feel their energies from the other side. You really get a very personal experience of who the person was, their goodness or their issues. But and some people, it's almost humbling. They're just so good. And anyhow, they will just reveal things to you. Thoughts come into your head. Might be somebody wanting to hook up with their grandfather, and suddenly a name Howard comes into your head. And so I'll just say, was your grandfather's name Howard? Yes, it was. Right. Just popped in the head. So they generally conduct everything. We don't. The one thing we do ask is that if anybody at the table or in the room, it can be emotional if you're contacting friends, family, loved ones, but it should never feel strange or foreboding, or, it shouldn't have a negative bent.
Right.
I don't pick up negative energies real well. So we always ask anybody present with us, if at any time they feel a sense of foreboding or just, I want to get out of here or that, let us know immediately. We'll break. And we've only had that 2 or 3 times. And so it's sort of a rarity, but we feel here at the Hoover House, there's energies that sort of vet the energy. So they sort of clear it through and protect us. And just an interesting point. We did last week, not this current weekend, the weekend before, we did a paranormal event for friends up at, it's called Old Stone Jail. It's up in a small town, Ebbetsburg, up in Pennsylvania. And they had asked us to come up there and do table tipping. And we were inside the jail, and we were in a cell where they kept it reserved for people with severe psychiatric issues or the condemned. They did hangings at this jail, and it was for the condemned people before the event. And at each session, I gave a prayer for protection, just so that no energy, whatever, would negatively impact anyone. And honestly, once the energies came through, the emotion, the feelings in the jail was all uplifting. It was good. It was refreshing. So the jail setting really didn't factor. We were just as secure and good feelings as we all were here at the Hoover House. It was the first time we'd ever done this in a setting like a jail. And
so that you think that could help with residential cases as well for helping people?
We've done that. I've done that in homes. We actually now many times we'll use a table in an investigation, because
Really?
oftentimes some things will come out, or they'll explain various things. Just on the surface of it, I have a friend here I'd like to introduce. He's moving down in the area, and he's well experienced in the field. His name's Mike Simpson. I'm just going to tilt this so you can see Mike.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Mike. How's it going?
Good.
And Mike has a lot of experience. He's hosted investigations, worked for a lot of different event crews, and he has seen us with the table tipping from a more annoyance, annoyance thing, where it's, and just make a couple comments from a sort of like a newbie.
Well, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Quick question. So I mentioned like using it like in a residential case, and you said yes, and how you can like in a way communicate. Is it like communicating, like the energy, like going through you, and speaking to you? It's not like asking a question and it does a command to confirm it or something like that.
Well, there's a couple. You can use other equipment. Sometimes we'll use a phasma box while we're working at table tipping, and it will give you voice responses through the phasma box.
Like, are you a woman? Can you spin the table? Like those type of questions?
Oh yeah. Oh sure.
Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We generally will ask various IDs. Now, a favorite trick, once an energy's come through, and we've denoted whether it's male or female or whatever, we'll also ask the person who it's there for as a form of ID. In other words, like, do you know the birth month of this person? And they go, yeah. And so we ask them in their head without saying anything. We ask them if they'll say a few months in their head, and we ask the spirit, just for ID purposes, if it will move the table to the person when they say in their head the proper month of the person's birth. So we're just all sitting there at the table, everybody. Nothing's being said. And suddenly at some point, the table jerks or moves or slides or even hugs that person. And then we'll say, was that the right month? And I'd say probably 95% of the time it was.
Can I come up to Gettysburg and have a beer with you guys and pick your brains? Because this is I'm so fascinated. Are you guys going to be at the bash?
Yeah, we will.
Awesome. I'm going to talk to you guys for sure.
Yeah, we help them at the bash, and actually, we one of the things is we feel that it being of a spiritual nature, we don't feel like taking any kind of funding for this. So that, like, for instance, if Pam has an investigation and of course she'll, have an amount, she'll often just write table tipping included. So if people are interested, we'll table tip. We're not charging them for that. Because, then you start getting into what we call priestcraft, and we want to avoid that. We are doing, and we've had so many people that may have had reservations initially. Maybe we're a little fearful. And then once they see it, I said, I will guarantee you, it won't be scary. I mean, it's outside.
It's sort of uplifting, right? That's what I feel.
It's very uplifting. And it really, there's various things that they constantly tell us to reveal from the other side, lessons. And it really is a beautiful thing. Our families are around us. They want to be watching for us. And there's a whole lot of things that we feel very certain of that from the table tipping and the experience. Now, it's sometimes it's not always a wonderful situation where something might come through. And it was a difficult situation here where we had a father come through once, and in life, this father was going to kill the woman at the table as a child, was going to kill her and kill her mother, and then kill himself. And because of a thing that got revealed, he left the area where she was a babe in a bassinet. He left the area and just killed himself. but he had intended to kill his wife and his child.
Go down with
So
everybody.
he was coming through, and I guess he was just making clear of it and stuff. And so sometimes something will come out that just sort of, wow, just leaves you like that. So it's not always hugs, kisses, and love. But one of the things we found, especially nowadays with the fentanyl and the many unfortunate deaths from that, oftentimes that person, they never really intended to kill themselves, and they
weren't in the right state of mind.
Yeah, they want forgiveness from the family. They want to know they're still loved, and it's very important to them. And sometimes we'll actually have the person, they'll almost be crying to us, and they want.
It's funny that you say that, because I'm dealing with someone, taking care of someone with that problem right now.
Yeah. And sometimes they just want to hear their loved one say, "Look, I forgive you. I love you." And we do involve with crossings. Now that we do crossings with the table. I don't know if Marie does that, but sometimes the people want to be crossed over, and there's a whole set there, and there's sort of a commonality in that. But when that procedure's finished, you can just feel the energy is just wow. It's just gone up, and it's we've had people actually tell us that they've seen lights. In other words, they'll see a bright light, or they'll see various images. Oftentimes, many people at the table will be able to see the same vision, and so it really is something very special. We feel it's a responsibility to try to be as prepared as we can spiritually to have that happen, but it's very emotional.
Has anything bad happened that you accidentally maybe came through, or
well a lot of this is thinking on your butt. In other words,
on the fly.
On the fly, exactly.
Yeah.
We had a situation once where the lady at the table, she's a grown woman now in her 50s. Anyhow, her mother had died several years earlier, and she was wanting to hook up with her mother, and her mother was there. And her father, who had died more recently, would not let her come through on the table. And he was a monster. He really was. We actually got an image. Her mother was dying of cancer, and we got it. He would not let the children see her, and we actually got an image of him striking while she's lying in the bed, of her punching her in the face.
Oh wow!
That kind of evil. And now he is now in death, blocking the mother and daughter from connecting. So what do? So we wound up in that case. Spirit, I think, sort of helped us. We thought, is there someone else in the family from the other side that can come forward and block or be, in other words, block this father from doing it? He's ground. He had a cross, but he was still exhibiting a strong power. So it turned out she had a grandfather come forward. He blocked the father and drove him off. And we were able to make the connection between the mother and the daughter. So, some of this stuff is sort of outlandish to the point that you can't make it up. It just would have happened.
And it almost sounds like that when you do practice it, you got to do it responsibly as well. Almost like with the Ouija board, right?
Yeah, there were commonalities, but there were key differences as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But it is a beautiful thing, but it's not something to be taken lightly. You got to take it in the proper vein, and that's just part of respecting spirit, as we expect them to, to relate to us as well.
Now, there are different people that have different levels of sensitivity.
Yes.
Now, can anyone try to get into this type of field? And
I think they.
I believe people have it, but they just are lower. Some other. The more you work on it, the higher it gets. Right.
I think they can. Now, we've had people who, seeing what's going on here, they want to go get a table. Now we tell you, the table selects you, and say they
Right,
found
right.
one. They might see some whatever, and then they'll try it at home and not get it to work. So we have them bring the table here, and we've had some amazing results with their table. And we'll actually ask the table, will you work with, these people at home? It does matter who's on the table. You can have someone who is, it's nothing wrong in being a skeptic, but if you're a skeptic to the point that you're not going to allow anything to happen, it'll block and it'll tell you who's blocking. So sometimes.
Look, Skylar's talking to you. She just had her first tipping, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, 3 weeks ago.
Skylar just said, participating in my first table session, Emma was so nice, and my dad said it was very emotional event.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we animals come through. We had an animal rescue group here, and they rescued horses.
Very cool.
And we had for 30 minutes, we had the energies of about 25 horses coming through, thanking the ladies at the table who would run them. These were horses that were euthanized. It was a terrible accident or some conditions, but their humanity and the way they went about things and giving these horses respect, the horses were coming through to thank the people. And everybody was getting images of these horses in their minds. And this went on for 20, 25 minutes with just a variety of horses coming through.
Oh, wow.
So it can take on all kind of forms that you would never guess.
So people reach out to you if they're going to any kind of emotional distress, maybe a loss of a loved one or of a pet. And how can they? Do you help just anyone, or do you have a
pretty
website?
much? Yeah, I mean, obviously, if somebody is if somebody's under the influence, of any whether it's alcohol or drugs or something,
You got to have a clear mind.
That's right.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even bring them to the table because that's too disrespectful.
Exactly.
And also, a lot of people are having severe psychological issues. That again, you got to have some clarity in your mind.
So you don't think it helps if you do have if you do have issues with your psyche?
I would trust spirit to let me know. Spirit, I would say I have enough experience at this point that I would trust in spirit to let me know whether or not it should be done or not. And we've had this where the spirit will pretty much tell us no. We close it down. They're in total control and they sort of know.
Right.
And they'll even sometimes will not bring forward a spirit if it's going to be too emotional on the person on the table. If they know it's going to be highly traumatic, spirit will block that. I mean, it really is a loving act, and it's a loving act.
It's almost like when I see Marie do it when we have our events. Like sometimes the table just going crazy.
Yeah.
With a certain group of people, but Lori's seen it, and then she'll get like another group, and it's not really doing nothing. And I think it just depends on the people and the vibe and the energy that's going through it.
Yeah,
right?
no, and it's critical who's there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We also found sometimes like we were having a block here recently, and it turns out we didn't find out till afterwards. One of the people at the table had been born with severe brain injury.
Yeah.
And so something kept coming a couple times. It kept coming through, trying to connect, but the connection wasn't solid.
Right.
We didn't find out till afterwards, but it's hard to explain. Every session is unique. It really truly is.
Right.
And
everybody feels things a different way as well, right?
Yeah. And with some of the tables, like Emma's or like Star Table that my sister has, we've actually found Emma can go get the people. In other words, if you're at the table and let's say, you want to speak specifically to your grandmother, we can ask Emma, can you get Joe's grandmother? And she'll tell us yes or no. And if she can't, goes into this process. It's like a rocking back and forth, goes on, like 5-7 minutes or whatever. When it stops, generally so and so's there, and then we just carry on. So they've
Right.
actually demonstrated the ability to go get energies for us from the other
Okay,
side.
very interesting.
We even, and I don't want to hog everything. We even did a session here.
Oh, you got me like glue. You got me like you got me locked in.
You
Oh,
can
real
talk
quick,
all day.
real quick time out. I
Yeah.
gotta get in compliance mode.
Go, buddy.
Yeah, we got compliance in radio, damn it. But the good
Okay,
thing
go
is
for
after
it.
we complete the compliance, we can do it. We can talk about everything we want. We can drop F-bombs, Jim. Anything. So yeah, I just have to let our listeners on the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network that you're going to be moving on to the next show in a few minutes. If you still want to listen or watch our show, you can go to the War Party Paranormal YouTube page or Facebook page. And for my peeps that are in the chat or that are watching, check out KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. It's 24-hour radio of cryptids, UFOs, the paranormal. Jim, spiritual shows as well on spiritualism. How about that?
Mhm.
So yeah, check them out, and we're clear. Compliance done for the night.
But you had asked the question though about can anybody do this? And
Right.
when we first started, my sister and her husband, she had gone out, went out a few times ghost hunt with us, and her husband never did any of this.
Right.
And as they were helping us here at the Hoover House, because it's sort of a family affair, I guess. They're amazing now. I mean, both my sister and my brother-in-law, their abilities in the spirit coming in. I mean, it's like they're great. I mean, I think I'm fading out and they're sort of getting stronger. I mean, so I think working with this on some kind of regular schedule, it really does increase your sensitivities. And as long as you bring the proper respect and attitude to this,
yeah,
I think spirit.
That's how I conduct my investigations. Respect. You're gonna if you put out honey, you're gonna get more bees. That's how I look at it.
You'll love this one. Honest to gosh, I know this. A lot of this stuff sounds like outlandish, but
Jim, I want you back on my show. I want to talk more about this.
That was awesome.
Sure.
But we were doing a session up at Monterey Pass with the battlefield. Sort of like day 4, Gettysburg. And that night we were hooking up. There were some spirits of some of the soldiers and all. And all of a sudden, the soldiers, you could feel they sort of stepped back. We were doing table. They stepped back, and suddenly there was another spirit there, and it was a young lady, and she was like confused and bewildered. And then we were trying to figure out what's going on. And the gentleman who led us in the museum and all that, and he informed us that within the last 12, 18 hours, we had the remnants of a tropical storm come through. And in that rain, there was a young lady whose car hydroplaned, put her into a tree, bounced her back in front of a truck. And she was killed instantly in this accident. And the accident happened about a mile from where we were. It was her, and she wasn't quite sure what she was in. In other words, she sort of suspected that she wasn't in our realm, but she wasn't quite sure. And I'm, again, thinking on my pants, and I'm like...
And were you going through that weather experience as well?
Well, no, it had passed. The storm had passed. It was about, like I said, it was maybe like 12 hours earlier. So at this point, no, the weather was not an issue. So she had presented to us, and that's when our friend he had told us about this incident. We didn't know of it. And so I'm just talking. I said, we have a place down here. If you look, I'm sure you can see some kind of something there that you'll know where to go. And I talked to her about the Hoover House. So I said, if you'll come look for us, I said, we certainly will be glad to help you if it's a matter of crossing over, getting on, or whatever. Once you've figured out what's going on, and that sort of ended. So she faded out, and then the soldiers came back. Fast forward 1 week, Pam's got an event scheduled across the street at the History Center at the Aller House. And she had told the people coming for that investigation that we do some table tipping. So as I get there, and the girl told me her name. I can't. Let's just say for the sake of it, was Jocelyn. So anyhow, so I come down to the house about 8 o'clock at night. They've got the table up in one of the rooms, and Pam says, "Jim, they're all waiting for you. The table's set up and all, and there's people up there." So I go up into the room, and here are two ladies at the table, young ladies, and the one identifies herself that she's clairvoyant, and the other tells me she's clear audio. And I said, "Good." And she says, "There's a young lady here in the room, says you know her. Her name's Jocelyn, and she's waiting for you."
Wow.
And I'm like,
Oh, wow.
"What's her name?" And he goes, "Jocelyn."
I remember that.
And I said, "Oh my gosh." So we get on the table, and it was the girl from the week earlier up at the Monterey Pass. And she had figured out that she was indeed deceased and had spent the week going among friends and family, saying her farewells or making her presence felt. And she just wanted us to basically, I knew it would be an easy cross. I mean, it was a sweet.
Yeah.
And anyhow, so we crossed her. Everybody could feel it and see it. But I mean, literally, as I got there, and they tell me, "There's a woman here in the room waiting for you, and her name's Jocelyn." I mean, I'm like, "You're kidding me," you know? So it's amazing what form this can take.
Yeah.
And
you just blow my mind away, by the way.
Yeah, we were able to cross her that evening, and that was it. We haven't had any more communication. I knew it would be a very easy crossing, but
right.
That was maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. It wasn't that long ago. So we've learned to it can take on any form.
We adapt.
We adapt, yes.
Yeah.
And then Steve will sit in on some, and he'll be getting real strong imaging. Now this one will blow your mind. We had a podcaster come in who has a huge audience. It's over 1 million people that he sees. And he came to the Hoover House, and I told him, "If you come, I'll come over and table tip." He'd never done it. So we start the process, and right away, as the table's moving on, he jumps up. He goes, "Whoa!"
Wow.
And he's got this
funny.
big long thing of phones. He's talking to everybody on the phone, and he's going, "Holy Moses!" He goes, "People, I'm telling you, I'm watching these people." It's a regular table.
Oh, I've seen people at our events. They're like, "Come on, really? Like, what's going on here?"
So he keeps jumping up all the time and stuff. But anyhow, stuff was happening. We had equipment. It was triggering this. We said, "If you're around, hit the bell," and bing, 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 the bell goes up. So meanwhile, he had people calling in from all over. I mean, some of these people were from Michigan or whatever, and they'd say, is my father around? So we would have the table would go, and it would hook up to their father. And we're on radio now. And anyhow, we were doing these sessions, and the woman, Steve, suddenly goes, "What's the thing about blue cars?" And the woman goes, "Oh my God, that's my dad. He would only drive a blue car."
No.
So she goes, "I know that's my dad." So then, and she's asking serious questions. In this case, her father had stopped taking his medicine. I think he was living by himself, and he passed away, and it was like 3 days before they saw him. Got to him, of course, I'm sure his rigor mortis. Mm-hmm. And so she wanted to know if he had deliberately stopped taking his meds, and he came through and said he had. And then she wanted to know if he had died in his sleep, and he hadn't. He had died, but he was cool. He had seen, suddenly he's throwing names to me. And so I said, I forget offhand, but I said, "What's these two names?" And she goes, that was my father's father, and that was my father's brother, both who passed. And I said, well, they were both there to greet him when he crossed. He said, your father, he was in one high spirits, thinking great, all this stuff. And she goes, and then he told me something about, there was some little catchphrase that the two had. And he told me, he says, tell her this, he'll know it's me.
Wow.
And so I was able to tell her that. And we could hear her response on the phone. We couldn't see her. But, she, I said, like, Gumlux or something like that. And she said, oh, my God. She started crying on the thing. And she says, that's what my daddy called me when I was young. And, he just, and this guy, he would ask him, he said, well, what do you think of this? You think this is God? They're going, I had some doubts, but she said, no, it's on the radio. We knew nothing of these people. We didn't, but that night we did about 45 minutes. Steve and I were with him. We did about 45 minutes and maybe about 15 different people that we were actually able to bring someone in that, they were wanting to talk to and be able to engage. And then they revealed things to us. And, now when that's like that, it wastes you, even with the pump.
I think I need to go to the Hoover House, and maybe we should try to talk to Scotty Burns.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no. Well, we had Scotty come through once on a table.
Oh man.
Yes.
Can we try to do that when I come up for the bash?
We can certainly try that.
Right,
Yes,
awesome.
we'll have my sister will be here with Emma, and we can certainly try to bring Scotty through.
I'll make sure you guys get a spot.
Yeah, she's come through once that I can recall, because Scotty looks just like my son-in-law's mother. Scotty was taller and a larger woman, but in the face and stuff,
they look so similar.
They look like they could be sisters.
Yep.
And and Steve, a couple of the people that we've lost that were such a portion of the bash, they've come. Matter of fact, Eric. Everybody knows Eric. We were here just this past weekend. Eric's wife and his daughter were here. Eric came through on Florence, and we had probably a good 30, 40 minutes where they could ask their dad or mom husband questions, and he was answering them. And this is interesting. The first time we've heard, Eric was telling us, and if you see Eric now, Eric is a slim man. Okay, he's not like, and Eric's
he's got a great name. He's got a great name. Hopefully he spells it the right way.
So anyhow, Eric was telling us that even though they don't need to eat food, because the nourishment, you still have that sensory pleasure that food gave you. So it's sort of like a weaning process. And so what he's been doing is trying stuff that he hated in life. Now he still ain't touching vegetables.
I can hear him now.
That's funny.
But
Oh my God,
there
that's
was
great.
a couple foods his daughter was asking that he did not like when he was here, that he's tried. Again, it's not that they're actually eating, but sensory, they sort of create that and create that effect somehow. And that's the first time we've had energy tell us about that. So, cool. they reveal things to us. We try to follow up with other energies to see if it's consistent.
Well, I'm going to be looking for you. So if you have time, I would love to do that.
Oh,
If
yeah,
not, maybe we can do another time.
Just please, when you come up, introduce yourself, and we will try to. We will have Emma there. I know my sister. We have a lot of friends that that sort of like we just.
And
do
Lori said we're gonna have like a little memorial table for Scotty as well.
Well,
lantern
it's the
or
memorial
something.
table for everyone, but if
But
you
she's gonna be on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
if you bring a
Yes,
picture of
absolutely.
her, Pam, I told them if they wanted to put a picture of Scotty
Yeah.
up there.
Yes,
I'm gonna
please.
bring something.
Yeah.
Now, one of the
something.
funniest sessions we've ever had, Lori was in on, and that's Lori's
Oh
friend.
my gosh, Stephanie.
Lori's friend Stephanie, and this was after the bash one year. I think it was Sunday evening after the bash, and they wanted a table tip. It was here at the house.
I know what you're going to say.
We had a table that was the spirit of a British soldier from the 1800s was connected with that table, and he recognized Lori's friend Stephanie as a hot lover from the past.
That table later it did not leave.
And
Remember
this was an X-rated table session. I mean, you didn't have to use your imagination. You knew what this table was trying to do to Stephanie. And she had to kept saying, I'm trying to think of Zag. I think it was Zag. Zag was and she kept saying, Zag, get back, get back. Jag.
Yes.
And it kept and it was, it would fight back, and then when she'd sort of turn herself, it would come at her again, and it was quite literally was trying to mount her.
I was trying
oh my God, that's funny.
Laugh because Jim is so serious and he's in his element, and I'm like tears streaming down my face.
I'll never forget that. That was that we may have had 2 or 3 sessions out of all the ones we've done that had a sexual element to it, but I remember that was a riot.
Like,
we were all wow.
Like, I don't think you should be doing that, Jag. And I'm just like,
that's funny.
That was
now. Does it help if you bring like a personal item of the person that passed away?
A couple.
I could bring Scotty's recorder.
I mean, I don't think it would hurt, but I don't know. I would say it's maybe not necessary, but try it. Sure.
I'll bring Scotty's recorder when I.
Oh yeah, no. Try something like that. And we might even ask her. What we can do, we can turn it on and ask Scotty if we connect with her.
I was going to say that.
She could give a message on the recorder. Try it.
Yes.
Well, actually, we've been communicating with her at. I don't know if you were there, Lori, when we were at Riverside. She was coming through the spirit box. I don't know if you were there. We were in the mausoleum. That was one of Scotty's favorite places to hang out, like for the weekend. Like
she came through the Zap, and she
came through the portal talking to Zap.
I was floored, clear as day. It was
clear as day.
Yeah, no, by all means. And like I said, if you have try that, we'll ask her if she could put a message on the recorder.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah,
definitely. Like I said,
I'm getting goosebumps right now.
I know, I am too.
Well, I don't know. Now there are things like, for instance, we've had people ask about someone's dying and ask for a time or date, and they won't give you that, although they'll let you know if the time's coming.
Well,
up.
we all know Scotty. If she's going to communicate, she'll let herself know.
Oh, we know it'll be colorful.
It'll be strong. Yeah, colorful and strong.
I know. Sure. I know. But Steve's had several of his dear friends that he's lost, from previous bashes have come through. Now, it's not like they're a constant. Maybe for the first couple years, they might come through, and then it becomes, less. But they're going on to new adventures. I mean, that's a whole new. That's a whole.
I
new
tell people, if you die, why the hell would you want to come back here?
Exactly.
It's beautiful where you're going to be. You'll never want to come back unless I don't know.
So much of this we're already sort of past our past what we know in probability, so we just sort of let it go where it will,
we're in the caterpillar stage right now, and then we pass, we turn into a butterfly, right?
True. So I'm just and I say this a lot. I mean, it's Matt. I don't think I have a lot more years myself. Okay, only the good Lord knows. But
I don't know if you keep doing that table tipping, it's going to give you longevity.
Well, you know what?
Exercise.
I think I'm doing some of his work here, and I think that's why he sort of saw fit to give me some time. I mean,
man, Jim, you and Steve that's like what you're doing is just amazing. I would just build on that. And
we're
I
hopefully
can't wait to talk to you guys.
Our hope is that I want to sort of be able to turn the Hoover House into something with permanence. So my goal, if the good Lord gives me enough time, is to have it divided. Pam and Steve, my sister, whatever, so that I'm out of here, my wife, so that they can mend. It'll be here for the community, the paranormal community.
I want to learn, and I want to move up to Gettysburg, and I can be your Luke Skywalker, and you'll be my Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, no, it's I feel very.
No, to me, what, like, Pam, this is like a huge treat for me. You introducing me to Jim and Steve, because like I'm at the stage right now where I've been doing paranormal investigations for a while, and I've been doing it like more on the scientific side, because and when I started, I was skeptic, and like now, like with what, Scotty was my mentor, and we got amazing people on our team. I learned to open up my mind, or I feel like I have these senses that I didn't realize I have that works when I investigate. So I want to get more towards the spiritual side of the paranormal than with the scientific and the equipment. I don't like, my goal was always like, hey, I want to, like, I get crazy stuff and I just want to show everyone what I capture. But now for me, it's more like, it's more of a spiritual journey. Well, I want to learn and grow.
That's sort of where, I mean, my gosh, I was on Gettysburg 30 years ago, doing whatever. And I'm, and not that I want to diminish it, all that's part of the learning in that, but now, I mean, it's a different experience. I just want to try to find out from the other realms what we can do, if we can help heal people from this side, because of, relationships. It's all about the love. We know love is eternal. And so, that's sort of what, I know it sounds corny and all that, but I mean, it really, that sort of has meaning. The other stuff's neat. I mean, it's always good to get a class 1 EVP and, oh, wow, listen to this. But
when you have a spiritual moment,
making that contact.
Who cares if you can't share it and show anyone? It's just, it's more about you,
Well, and then look, like my friend Mike here, we have a great connection with spirit, So we've got another dear friend looking to move down in the area, Cisco. So it's sort of weird. We've got things going on here that it looks like
coming to Florida
are bringing groups together. In Waynesboro, we've got a lot of places here now, neat places with a lot of energies.
Very nice.
And Gettysburg in some ways is closing it up. I mean, they're unfortunately, I guess politics is getting involved over there, and they're sort of, in some ways, trying to get away what Gettysburg's all about. It is about the history and what occurred there.
That's why I like doing paranormal research, because it's all about the history. When you can get evidence that's related to the history, it doesn't get any better than that. And that's what I'm looking for.
And and then when like I said, sometimes when you get some real specific piece of information and it comes through, or we even had before the like I said, sometimes we'll run the Phasma box. That can be distractive, but sometimes it can also add to the experience. And we had a husband and wife here once where the voice that came through, the voice said, "I love you, son." And the guy turned white on me.
Oh, wow.
And I looked at him and I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "That was my mother's voice." And his wife was at the table at the time too. And she said, that was his mother's voice. Now, we wouldn't have known that because we'd never heard her, and that's a rarity. I mean, that's not something that, but we've had stuff like that happen before. So it does lend credibility to the possibilities.
Yeah.
Don't sell ourselves short. Who knows?
No.
I swear to you guys right now, I'm in my husband's office and there's a Gatorade bottle over. I keep looking over there. It's got the cap on it. I keep hearing this noise and it's rattling back and forth.
No way. Really?
It's just been the last 20 minutes since you guys have been talking about. It's crazy.
Well, let's maybe Scotty's around you guys.
Yep.
And so let's
maybe that's her right there. That could be her, right?
And so Scotty,
confirming.
Please come to the bash. We know you probably will. And you have friends and people who think very cherished thoughts of you that want to hopefully hook up, connect up, just to feel your presence. And we'll be open to table tipping. And please, hopefully you can take advantage of us and join us at the bash.
Yep. We're here to celebrate you, Scotty.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, thank you, everybody. Jim and Steve, we definitely got to do another show with you guys because we can go 5 hours, 10 hours with this. It's amazing. Pam, thank you so
guys.
much for being so
Good seeing you, Lori.
You too, Jim. I'll see you in a
Yep.
few.
How's your mom?
She's doing better.
Good. Well, we've been having her on the prayer rolls, and we keep her in our daily prayers, hon.
Thank you, Jim. I really appreciate that.
Can't wait to see you guys at the bash.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And one last time, Pam, where's the easiest way for people to get info on the bash? Just go to the Facebook page.
Go to the Facebook page or simply give me a shout, 717-521-7465.
All right.
Tickets are at the door only. We don't do third-party ticketing because, of course, third-party ticketing would take funds from that, and that's that's a donation. So it's $20 at the door, $85 for the Friday night masquerade ball. We have maybe 7 tickets left for that. So it's not too late to grab your ticket.
That's a great deal.
The entire run.
Yes, and for $20, it's for the entire weekend, not per day.
That's a great deal. Ask Lori. Anything like that here in South Florida would be $150.
Yes.
That's an amazing
And our
deal.
menu for the masquerade ball is amazing.
Awesome.
It looks good.
All right. Well, I can't
All right.
wait. And thanks everybody for being on the show. Good night, everybody, and peace.
Good night. Thank
Safe
you.
travels, guys.
Thank you.
Take care. Look forward to seeing you soon.
We will.
Bye, guys.